Folks, welcome to an all new So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode, a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap. We have made it to another end of a week. Thank the dear Lord above. If you are listening, you have survived. Congratulations. What a week it has been. Man, yesterday knocked me on my coal mining ass, you guys. It was such an intense day. I didn't finish those Salt Lake recap things until I think I was in bed at 3. I fell asleep at 4, and then I had to be up at 8 to do some research for an interview that I had that I was really excited for. And then when you just don't, it's like my mind is just still cloudy and my throat hurts. So I've got a big jug of warm tea right here, like a man. It's the bad boy of podcasting, warm tea. That's right. I'm the person your parents warned you about. I drink warm tea when I podcast now. God, remember the old days, you guys, when I would do Beverly Hills recaps and I would drink Fernet Branca and and like Fernet Branca and I'm trying to think of the shitty, what was it? Like Trulies? I would just chug that and be like, Lisa is insane. Oh, the good old days. And now I can't do that. I can't do that anymore. Now I'm drinking warm tea. That is how sad this is all. Don't get into podcasting. It's a gateway drug into being extremely boring. So that's just a warning up top. What a week it's been for shows though. And listen, I know I'm throwing a lot of content at you, but hey, deal with it. But also no, go back and listen to some of these episodes this week. Monday, we had Sophie Ross. Tuesday, we had the amazing Kate Kennedy from the Be There in 5 podcast. She has a new book, Once in a Millennial, that is out now. But we also did pop culture stories before then. Then Wednesday, we did Oscar review of all the nominations, and we had Emmy award-winning director Sharon Leese of the 4-part docuseries on Max called Let Us Pray. Yesterday, we did a 2-part Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap, kind of summing up the season. And then today, we have this Beverly Hills recap, but also I'm releasing another episode with the editor at large for Variety, which is just one of the best entertainment periodicals out there. She's a genius. I've mentioned her so many times on the podcast, and it was my first time getting to have her on the show, Kate Arthur. And the reason why you should check that out is she did a sit-down interview with Heather Gay last week after watching the reunions, and she knew the Monica Garcia information about her not being asked back because she also did that interview, and she also did interviews with Andy Cohen and the producer at Shed Media and one of the VPs over at Shed Media, which is the production company that produces Salt Lake City. So we had an hour conversation this morning where we talked about all of that. We talked about her feelings on Salt Lake this season, but I think she's just a bona fide genius, and I think you need to go listen to that. I think it also really not changed my mind, but actually added more fuel to the fire of things that I was struggling about if you listen to that Salt Lake City recap in terms of Monica Garcia. And I left feeling a little bit differently. I still have a lot of suspicions about Heather Gay. And, I do think she planned a little bit of that reveal. I think I think that is definitely true, but I think the Monica of it all, it's becoming more and more clear why she cannot come back immediately. So if you listen to that interview, you will hear me slowly realize, and I think Kate's interview with Heather, but also the producers and Andy kind of solidified that a little bit more. But I think that's what's so great and what's so exciting about studying all of this stuff is that you can change your mind. You can get more information. And my big bone to pick with those reunions was that we didn't have all the information. I'm still getting information after the fact that actually changes my opinion. We can usually only go by what they show us, what story they're trying to tell. And if all the information is not coming in, and also if you do not have a reliable narrator, which Monica isn't, you can't trust what she says. Now, the hard thing, though, on the other side, you had Heather Gay, who also comes off as a reliable narrator, but then also admits she's been holding a lie for the last year as well. But you're in this battle of who can tell a story better. And Heather Gay won hands down. She was able to tell a complete story, a very convincing story with a lot of facts behind it about Monica Garcia. But anyways, go listen to that Kate Arthur interview just because I want you to listen to it so she'll come back on. I want it to do good. but also because I just think it provides a lot of information and fills in a lot of blanks. One of the big things that was revealed to me was, she was still posting as Reality Von Tease while she was filming. And the other thing that you heard me struggling with was, is she the person that was sending the DMs about Angie K? And then I also had questions. Well, was she the one that gave Monica potentially the information about Lisa Barlow and those jazz tickets a couple of seasons ago? Was she behind a lot of these rumors about these ladies? And we don't have clear-cut proof, but it is interesting that this person is involved in all of these things. So you can sometimes go a couple of steps further and go, well, it would make sense. But I'm telling you, those mean streets of Salt Lake City, it seems really rough out there for such a small town. I'm telling you, all those people out there at Sundance right now, just protect yourself. Be warned. It seems like a dangerous, very dangerous place. How the heck are you guys doing? Are you good? Are you hanging in there? I hope so. I really do. I mean, right, we're almost out of January, so that means 2024 is almost over. It's done. Isn't it crazy? And for all you young kids out there listening, I'm sure there's so many young kids out there listening. I will say, before we get into this recap, it's true. As you get older, time just flies. Remember those days when you were a kid and it just moved so slow? And you're like, oh, and then you even got to the point where you had the luxury of being bored. You're like, oh God, it's moved time. It's moving. Oh, so slow. Oh my God, I'm never going to grow up. And then you do grow up, but then you keep growing up. And then time moves faster and faster and faster. And my theory is that, when you're younger, you don't, everything is new to you. So your mind and your body is taking everything in. So it kind of like is this slow down process of feeling your way around the world. And then you kind of get used to it. And I think that speeds up everything, is that we are used to time. We are used to days and nights and everything. So it just kind of speeds up. Everything I mean, can you believe we were already a month in to 2024? My God, that's crazy, right? And I was so tired today that I, and I, there's no news to you. I can get into depressive states rather easily. I don't even have to try hard anymore. Is that I was sitting there and I was drinking some warm tea, trying to get my voice in shape. And I just said, is this my life? Am I going to be staying up till 4 a.m, 10 years from now? Going like, these Salt Lake ladies, and then going, oh God, I got to put this to bed because I got to do Beverly Hills tomorrow, and then I got to do a new season of Vanderpump Rules next week. I was like, is this it? And there is something really exciting about all of this, right? There is. But then it's hard because you do so much work that you don't have control sometimes of how people consume it, or even if people are consuming it. And then you're like, oh my God, are people tired of me already? I've been doing this for a minute. Is my time, like, the negative gremlins in our head, right? The things, I know I'm not the only one, the things that like talk shit in your head. Not even the people outside that talk shit about you, your own head of like, quit, give up, you suck. You're done, dude. This is as good as it's ever going to get. Like those things can bring you down, right? I think that's the other thing about getting old too, is you have to not just battle the world, you have to battle yourself. You have to literally tell yourself to shut the F up and just do the work. I don't know. It's so hard. It's so tricky, right? Because like, I just want to do this stuff, but then you have to think, oh, how do I get further? How do I get more out there? Oh my gosh, I hope I'm prepared, and I hope an opportunity comes, and I hope luck hits me and finds me and all of this stuff. It can be maddening. How do you guys deal with it? Please give me advice. Tell me what I need to be doing. We need a call-in line where we can just take callers and you can tell me what the hell I need to be doing. Oh, this is good. Did I do the recap already? Is it done? Okay. Well, have a good Kyle, right? Oh my God. I said this yesterday, but I want to say it again. If you have Sirius, go listen to Jeff Lewis Live with Kyle Richards this past week. I think she was on Tuesday's episode. And Kyle revealed more information on that and the after show. Like I learned more about her, and she came off so great. And she was like very open, but she was also even talking about the pictures of her being paparazzi'd with Morgan Wade. I'm Morgan Wade. I didn't get invited to Spain. She talked about those paparazzi photos, and she's like, you know what's crazy is that all my other girlfriends are there too, and they just get shots of me and Morgan. Now, who knows if that's true or not, but Kyle paints a pretty convincing picture of this story. So much so that I even get confused. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe it is just a special friendship, and all of our friends are just to the left of every paparazzi photo you see with them. I don't know. I thought it was really interesting, and I'm a big geek in listening to. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts that talk about what I talk about because it would just put me in my head too much. But I have to listen to the Jeff show because I do his show now every week, and I listen to it to keep up on it. And it's one of those things when I get to listen to interviews, I just geek out so heavily because everybody has their different style, and it's not something you can emulate. And Jeff's actually really interesting because he kind of has this throwaway style, and he'll usually say something a little harsh, not about the guest, but about his own life, and it disarms the guest, I've noticed. And then they start feeling freer to speak as well. Like Howard Stern would do that as well. And Howard Stern, I've talked about him so many times. In his interview style, it's really interesting. He does a couple of great things where the guest will be walking in and he'll be like, oh, yeah, well, and then this is going on in my life. Oh, hey, Bradley Cooper, what's going on there? Yeah, sit down. Hey, Bradley, I was thinking about you the other, and he kind of he'll be like constantly just talking about something, and then he won't even make a big deal, and then the guest will sit down and be like, oh, I was just thinking about you the other day. It's so natural. And also the other thing Stern will do, he'll get a fact wrong early on in the interview. Like, oh, I read you grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and be like, no, actually it was Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, Ohio. Okay. Well, that's interesting because he'll get something wrong so that he can be corrected. And there is something psychological in there where then they the guest feels like, oh no, let me, get some talking a little bit. And I don't even know if, I know Howard has thought about that, but I've not had any kind of conversation about Jeff about how he approaches interviews. But it's really interesting because you can kind of tell. And then, I was listening to Not Skinny, Not Fat the other day. I was listening to her interview with Sam from Summer House about the Corey breakup. And what I love about what I love about Amanda, Not Skinny, Not Fat, is you can tell her guests really trust her. And I think it's because she's created such a great or such a powerful online persona on Instagram. And a lot of people follow her and follow what she posts and things like that. So there's already this natural trust built, or they want to almost kind of get along with Amanda. And I think Amanda's really kind of just throws everything away in the best way. I don't know. I geek out about that stuff. Do you guys geek about it? I do. I mean, like, I think it's really fun to listen to everybody's different approaches on that. I don't know. It's really exciting stuff. If you like this podcast, consider giving it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And just know, listen to the commercials. And if something hits your fancy, use the product code. It does help the show out. I want to do good for any sponsor that's with me. I want to do good for Betches Media. And thank you for listening to both parts of the Salt Lake reunion. I know that can be annoying potentially when it's a continuation. And like I said, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but make sure you're subscribed. Try to listen to as much as you can. Even just go to sleep with it. Just go to sleep with it on. Because I want this all to do good. I don't think there's something wrong with wanting things to do good. I would love to be an artist. I was about to say like Kanye West, but I'm going to scratch that. I do not want to be Kanye West, but an artist that just doesn't give enough. Like, I'm just going to put it out. Whatever happens, happens. It's coming out of my soul. But no, don't we do things because we want them to do good? Maybe it's just me. Who knows? Also, I will be on Brav Bros, I believe, on Monday's episode. We had a really fun time talking, so I'll go check that out when it is out. And I don't know if I'm allowed to announce. I don't know. I think there's some Crappens news happening soon, so we'll talk about that when I can talk about that. And that is it. Let's get into these kooky ladies. Anna Marie Wiley, I mean, she won us over this week, right? I mean, the esophagus, but now we find out what an amazing lady she truly is. I am completely joking. Not at all. Not at all. I've not had a distaste. It's not even a distaste because she's not even that exciting to get upset about, if that makes sense. I think what it is when they come in hot like this, it just almost, you almost believe that, oh my God, they seem like they could potentially be obnoxious in real life. Because part of you wants to believe, oh, they're just doing this because they're nervous, so they're pushing too hard. But there's something in me that thinks she might actually be like that in real life, where she tries to like find the weak link and throw them under a bus. And I just don't think it's necessarily working for her. But anyways, Andy Cohen today in an interview said, in regards to Anna Marie Wiley, he says, I want everyone to succeed. Social media is completely toxic and nasty, and it is also something that you can't be prepared for. It's a nasty world, he tells Entertainment Tonight. I think the viewers will see a new side of Anna Marie on the Spain trip. I have not seen that new side. Maybe he didn't mean last night's episode. Maybe he means next week's episode. I did not see a new side of Anna Marie Wiley. But me and Kate Arthur, in that interview I was just telling you about that's out today as well, in that interview that she did with Andy and the executives at Shed Media, talks about how they want to set up their housewives for success because they invest. They do put money into any new housewife. If you get cast on one of these shows, they want it to work out. Even if you are a semi-villain or they think that you are going to be contentious with the other ladies, they still want it to work out. They're not bringing these people on because they want them to be hated. They want them to succeed in some way. And that's why I always think they need to do documentaries afterwards with the casting department, with the producers, where they walk through. And that's why I thought that Kate Arthur making a scene video that was in the first episode, the first one I was just talking about, it's so helpful to kind of see the nuts and bolts behind the scenes. But also, Andy does this great thing because he's like kind of like the head guy and also a massive cheerleader, is that he can't be like, oh, I hate Anna Marie Wiley too. Oh my God, I'm done with the esophagus. So what he'll do usually, and it's usually, he'll do an interview where it'll be a positive quote so the cast member doesn't feel completely bad about themselves. Now, also the social media being completely toxic and nasty goes into the Salt Lake City, the Heather Gay of it all. And, it can be a lot of positivity too. And it also is something that keeps these shows going. But I think it's an interesting quote in, talking about last night's Beverly Hills trip, because I don't think we saw a new side. And I think he's being positive because this is a real person. And Anna Marie Wiley is going to be on Watch What Happens Live next week. And who is she going to be on? She's going to be on with Chloe Fineman from Saturday Night Live. So we'll see how that works. But I was thinking about Chloe Fineman because I was like, oh my God. Because then, Chloe's going to be like, oh my God, you're doing so well. Like, we potentially will have to see a fake moment. Because I was thinking also of like, well, are we too hard on people? And I'm like, wait a sec. No, we are so positive usually with newbies a lot of the times. Like, remember how positive we were with Leah McSweeney? Remember how even positive we were with Monica Garcia for so long? But if you are bad, if we sense a false note over and over and over and over again, we're going to talk about it. That's part of the game. And it benefits the show because last night's episode, no matter what you thought of it, get this, it got the highest ratings of the season. It did a 1.172 million viewers with a 0.29 in the 18 to 49 demo. That's the age range that they want for advertisers, 18 to 49. It was a season high in total viewers. Now, remember, 1.172 is just night of. It is not 3-day or 7-day ratings. It does not take into account DVRs, Peacock, anything like that. But that is, and in comparison, last night's or 2 nights ago, the Salt Lake City finale got so ratings. I think it was like a 0.730. And Beverly Hills got a 1.172, I think I just said. And that is just night of, but just to compare, this past Sunday's Potomac got a 0.770. This past Sunday's Potomac did better than the finale, the last part of the reunion of Salt Lake City. Doesn't that blow your mind? I was like, oh my God, all I've been thinking about is Salt Lake City. And then the reality is Potomac did better on just daily ratings. And I was wondering if the ratings got affected at all because, the information got revealed about Monica not returning. People Magazine, officially broke that story, even if other people put out information. Anyways, I wonder if that had something to do with it. I wonder if there was an exhaustion level. I don't know, but I find ratings fascinating and what people are drawn to. And Beverly Hills, it's been a decent season. It hasn't been bad. I've liked it more than I've liked Potomac, but I don't think there is this through line storyline like we have with Salt Lake City. So it's just a different animal. It's fine. And by the way, this episode is really silly. There's a couple like kind of dramatic scenes, but it's silly in the best way. So I hope you'll give me permission today to be silly, to just be goofy. I need to do stupid voices and say stupid jokes. And I'll tell you out front, somebody said they kicked their kid out of the car like I always tell them to do. Somebody was like, yep, you started cursing, I had to kick my kid out of the car. Yeah, so I'm probably going to use language. There's probably going to be some really like bad humor. There might be sexual situations that I joke about. And if that is not your bag, I totally get it. Listen to that interview with Kate Arthur instead. It's a really great conversation, but this is going to probably be really silly, or maybe who knows? We'll find out. Also, I can't talk about tonight's Traders yet because I don't want to spoil it, so I'll talk about it on Monday's episode. As always, a special thanks goes out to Juliana Carroza, who took these notes. And I think Juliana was a little bit silly too, because said she was very tired taking these notes. She might have just miswrote that and said tired of taking the notes. But regardless, Juliana, thank you so much. She is so amazing. This episode is episode 13. Remember, they are filming the reunion today, Friday. As you are listening to this, they are filming the reunion. So we're probably going to get a couple of Instagram stories from Andy Cohen where it's like, okay, we're here. Garcelle looking lovely. Hi, Andy. What's going on? All right. And then 7 hours later, you'll get a story from Andy Cohen where he's like, still here. Oh, my God. I just need to get out of here. Oh. And then hopefully, if it's going really good, you get one at like 10 p.m. at night going, oh, my God, I just need out of here. But I don't think there's this overarching storyline this season that would make it go super, super long, but who knows? This episode is entitled Tapas and Tattletales. It reminds me of one of my favorite shows, Toddlers and Tiaras. Tapas and Tattletales. The summary that they give Peacock, or that the Peacock gives us to let us check if we're going to like this episode or not, says Sutton takes the ladies on a getaway to Barcelona, where Garcelle fears supernatural house guests. Right there, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Is this like the X-Files? Like, if Sutton gets a horse and an alien, Sutton's like, well, this is my little E.T. I brought home from Barcelona. Yeah. He's gonna live in Santos' little apartment, I say. They continues on. Kyle's bold fashion choices leaves Dorit questioning this new Kyle. I don't know if I can handle Kyle's bold fashion choices. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Anna Marie puts Crystal in the hot seat for talking behind the group's back. Ugh. So previously on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we get a collection of scenes from this season. The day trip to Ojai, where Crystal is reading the card game, lick someone's toe, and Sutton's like, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll lick somebody's toe. And Kyle sticks her toe out for her to lick, and Sutton just goes to town on Kyle's toe. Sutton and the talking head's like, well, now this is the Kyle I love. We're finally getting there again. I love that this was like, what does that mean? Like, oh, yeah, old Kyle let me lick on her toes and some of her phalanges, but she got real all stuck up a year ago, but now she's back to Kyle where I can lick all of her body appendages, I say. Also, I want to just forewarn you, my throat is really raw and ripped up, so my imitations are already pretty bad, but they're going to be even worse today because I can't, when I try to raise the register of my voice, it just puts me in pain. So just know I'm aware that they're extra bad today. We're back at Kyle's THC dinner party from earlier in the season where Son's like, well, you're going to tell everybody I don't eat. And Kyle's like, you don't. And Son's like, and you know that I have an esophagus. You know I got esophagus issues, Kyle. You know it. And Kyle's like, I know, you told me that. And then at Kyle's celebration of life from a couple of episodes ago, Anna Marie's like, narrow esophagus is not a medical diagnosis, period. And Garcelle's like, why do you care? Also at the celebration of life event, Sutton to everyone going, hey, do you want to come to Barcelona? We're going to have a trip to Barcelona. And then a scene of Sutton in her kitchen going, well, but I don't even want to invite that one doctor nurse. She's talking about Anna Marie, and Kyle's like, you already invited her. Well, she gonna owe me an apology, I say. And then we have Crystal on a FaceTime with Garcelle going, when I first met Anna Marie, she told me she was a doctor. And Garcelle goes, and not a nurse? And then Sutton at the Homeless Not Toothless event saying, well, I got a board certified doctor, Anna Marie. And Anna Marie's like, good. And Sutton's like, well, so I know what I have. And Anna Marie's like, great. And Sutton's like, well, and you said that I made it up. And Anna Marie's like, I did not say you made it up. And Crystal's like, you said she lied. And Anna Marie's like, Crystal, didn't you want to go to med school? Didn't you want to? Anna Marie's voice, I'm starting to, it's like, Crystal? Like, do you notice she's like going, huh? Like, what? Like, there's this kind of extension and it goes a little higher. It's time to change. Well, anyways, Crystal's like, did you go to medical school? Didn't you tell me you were an anesthesiologist when I met you? And Anna Marie's like, here we go, downplaying my profession again. And Crystal's like, and let me tell you something. No. Dude, you are such a bitch. What is wrong with you? Finally, Crystal, after multiple seasons, comes unglued. And I have no problem with this. I'm sorry. That was warranted. And this is Housewives. Then we have Anna Marie calling Sutton on a FaceTime going, Sutton, I am sorry. I am begging for your forgiveness. And Sutton's like, well, I'm looking forward to working all this out with you, I guess. I really am. And then we have Kyle on FaceTime with Anna Marie going, have you talked to Crystal? And she's like, no, are you kidding me? And Kyle's like, how are we going to go to Spain? And then Anna Marie's like, Crystal owes me an apology. She mocked my profession. We have taglines this week, but I'm going to skip them. And then we have this mellow music at the very beginning. The songs are getting wackier each week, but this was like you can hate me, you can like me, I'm still showing up to the party. And then the ladies, we see the round robin of each house getting ready for the trip. Garcelle talking to Taz, her assistant, and the whole point of this scene is like, oh my god, they're packing suitcases, but Garcelle's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm bringing glam on this trip. That is just insane. I'm telling you, folks, if I ever had to do a thing where I had to pay for glam and then also pay for glam to fly to somewhere, like I would be so livid. It's like when people have to hire lawyers for stupid shit. You're like, oh, what a waste of money. You shouldn't have to do this. And then music plays, set me free and party tonight. And we're over at Dorit's, and Dorit's like, Jaggaloo, can you bring the shoes over for mommy? And Jagger, age 9, gives her these shoes. And Dorit's like, thank you, Jaggaloo. Honestly, those are a collector's items. And they zoom in on a pair of Chanel sneakers by Pharrell. Like, what are you, like Macy's? They're like, I need those Pharrell Chanels. Anyways, there's logos and Coco. It just looks like bad graffiti and other stuff written all over them, as well as mismatched colored shoelaces, red in the left shoe and black in the right shoe. I also, these are collector's items. Why are you using them? Like, I'm gonna take Spain. I know what I need. My Pharrell Chanels. Dorita's on her phone to PK. Hi, Papa. Oh, you're in bed. And PK is in bed. He's like, oi, baby, what's going on? And Dorita's like, how are you feeling? Are you tired? Beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm perfect. And Dorita's like, you have to get on London time. If you wake up early, Bubba, the best thing for you to do is just... And then little Jagaloo's like, go back to sleep. And Dorita's like, well, if you can go back to sleep, for sure. And then Jagger says, like, no, if you can't go back to sleep, close your eyes. And PK's like, oh, Jaggy. Yes, sir, Jaggy. The music goes on. You can hate me. You can like me. And now we're over at Crystal's house. She's sitting on the floor packing with her house manager, Lucy. And, Crystal's like, oh, my God, we've got to pick out Spanish dresses. Or like dresses that are like Spanish, And that's what's so great about shopping at Old Navy like I do, is like I wouldn't even like I don't think if I was going to Spain, I'd be like, I don't even know. I'd just be like, yeah, I'll just pack what I normally wear. I don't know. Anyways, Crystal's like, I can wear this flamenco dancing. Do you know what I mean? And Lucy laughs and begins to shake around like a flamenco dancer, clicking the castanets. Anyways, now we're over to Sutton. And this is a wild scene. Sutton, she's trying to pack. She's got a lot of shoes out for consideration. This obviously seems like a big project for someone. Well, I'm going to Barcelona, but yeah, all week I'm going to be packing. That's going to be a big job this week. So I'm not going to be able to go visit Santos or do any of my matchmaking with my dates. No karaoke. I got to pack. And Sutton's going, we got to hurry, Avi. We have 8 million things to do. And Avi, Sutton's property manager, pushing this piece of luggage with Sutton sitting on top. It does just seem like a lot of fun, kookiness, and craziness over at Sutton's compound. And Avi's like, excuse me, coming through. Oh, well, see, if you could only take me through the airport like this. Oh, Avi, you need to come, and I don't have to walk through the airport. I say, I could just do this. And she's wheeled to the closet, and Son's like, well, this is awesome. And Avi yells, España, España, yeah! Sutton jumps off the luggage. Well, do you think I should do a separate suitcase for shoes and handbags, if you will? And Avi's like, well, obviously, are you kidding me? And then Sutton's like, well, I need white jeans, and I can't find them, so I gotta go buy me some white jeans. And then production puts a banner on the screen and it says Sutton's missing white jeans and zooms in on the items in the closet. But Juliana pointed this out, and I did watch it a couple of times, and you can't see where those white jeans are. So I don't know if production went digging afterwards, but you can't see the white jeans where they said anyways, Sutton doesn't have white jeans. Sutton pulls his sweater off the rack. She's like, well, I don't like this plastic hanger. We know this. The Wonder's like, Avi, you're in charge of these hangers. I told you no plastic. I want wire hangers. Sutton grabs a white dress off the rack. Oh my God, this is very sexy in case I meet a man. And Avi gives a wolf call like, woo-hoo-hoo, ooh la la. And Sutton's like, well, okay, I'll do my underpinnings and I'm done. And Avi's like, well, I'm not sure why I'm not coming. And Sutton's like, well, come on. I don't want this to be no sore subject with you. And Avi's like, well, about what? And Sutton's like, well, because I am bringing Noelle. And Avi's like, well, you need glam. I understand that. And then Sutton's like, well, then also, I'm bringing Mus. And Avi gives her like these big Avi eyes. And the Avi Sutton relationship, because what happened to her old little house guy, like the little guy, I forgot his name. What happened to him? Did he move on to greener pastures? But Avi, this relationship, it's like a will they, won't they, I think come on, Avi. Listen, we've gone through a lot this season. I think at the end of the day, after all this dating, there's only one man. For me, I say, and that is you, Avi. Come on, let me ride you around on a suitcase. Sutton and talking head like, well, come on, I started working for the Merce Cunningham studio, I say when I was in my 20s, back in the 90s in New York City. I do need a Sutton prequel. I heard this and I was like, oh my God, this is like Sex in the City. We need Sutton in the big city, like, oh, come on, pre-9/11, I say. Bright lights, big city. I'm out there on the streets of New York, getting my cosmopolitans, hanging out with my dance instructor, Merce. They show us a photo of Merce Cunningham, and he was a dance choreographer, a very famous one. He in a dance pose wearing his tights. He says, well, Merce was one of the best in the dance world. He was respected like no one else. I looked up to Merce like he was a god, I say. Sudden Avi in this scene goes, well, so don't you want to go get Merce? And Avi's like, wait, you mean the ashes? So the whole bit of the scene, you guys, is Merce is passed away, and Sutton has a little bit of Merce in a plastic Ziploc bag, which is, where you keep your former dance instructors if they've meant something to you. Erica will potentially have Mikey Minden in a Ziploc one day. All the greats do it. But yeah, Son's like, yeah, go get Merce. And Avi's like, what? And Son's like, well, we got to pack him and figure out what to put him in. And Avi's like, oy vey, osmer, which means, oh, woe is me. And Son's like, oh vey, osmer indeed. Avi, leaving to go get Merce, goes, this is against my religion. Sutton in a talking head goes, well, I've had Mus's ashes now. I don't know where it was. Got to be 12 years or something. I'm going to release these ashes in a significant place and make this a really meaningful trip. I need to know way more about all of this. You're just, wait a second. Wait, you're now going to Barcelona with ashes, a new character named Merce that meant something so much in your life. I mean, like way more about this. Like, and is it going to be hijinks? Is this going to be like a weekend at Bernie's, but instead of a body, we're going to be losing the ashes? Like, is it the ashes? I just picture like the ashes like flying into Erica Jane's face, going, and I do that. Like it just seems like hijinks are going to ensue with the ashes. And also, do you think Merce, this very well-respected dance instructor, is like, Sutton, I'm going to leave you some of my ashes, but I want you to promise me if reality shows ever do hit big, please never put me on reality television. Do you think Merce would like to be talked about being packed up to go to Barcelona with Kyle Richards and Erica Jane? Anyways, Avi returns to Sutton's closet wearing rubber gloves and delicately holding a Ziploc baggie with Merce written in it. And it's a very small amount. Like, I don't feel like she has all of Merce. I don't think she has all of him. So, like, maybe she got like a 10th of him, a 30th of him. Who knows? Maybe a lot of people have a small amount of Merce. But I am curious of the story of what's the deal with the ashes? Do you have, like, where's the rest of Merce? Do you take a little bit of Merce on every trip you go on and then just spread him out all over the world? Did she have to pay for them? Is this one of the board, like, well, when I say I'm on the board of a ballet company, I say that means the Muss. I bought the Muss Ballet Company. Like, is this one of the boards she's on? I just need to know so much about this. And for somebody so particular, how does she feel about traveling around with ashes, with former human remains, you know? Sutton's like, well, come on, Avi, will he fit in this little container? She holds a small, round, red and white striped box that looks like a peppermint. And Avi's like, well, if we dump the ashes in there, and Sutton's like, well, how do we know he's going to fit in there? Maybe I should put a Ziploc bag in a little pretty thing and then open that Ziploc bag. And Avi's like, well, just make sure it doesn't blow in your face when and he demonstrates tossing the ashes. And Sutton is like, her voice is so weird right here. If you go, Sutton's like, I'm a little nervous about this. I'll say. We're now at LAX and the ladies are being dropped off. Gentlemen standing curbside helping with the luggage and the doors. Crystal and Erica arrive first and are watching as Anna Maria arrives and unloads her bags. And Crystal's like, that's a lot of luggage. And Erica's like, now don't be judgy. Come on. And Crystal's like, I'm not. And Crystal in a talking head goes, I think Spain is going to be great restart for all of us. There's nothing a sangria or 5 can't fix. And you always know it's going to be bad for the person that says they think the trip is going to be good. You're like, oh, it's like the person in the scary film that says, I'll be back. You're like, oh, you're going to die. Crystal to Anna Marie goes, are you bringing us presents? And Anna Marie's like, you can take whatever you want. And then they fake hug. And I was like, how are they even on hugging terms after Anna Marie was talking shit about Crystal? I don't even know how we got to fake hugging terms at the airport with them already. Erica in a talking head goes, this trip is starting out on a good note. Nobody's killing each other at LAX. I like a giant. I mean, so far, so good. Anna Marie goes, well, I literally finished packing at 3:10 a.m. And Crystal goes, so at the end, you just start throwing in stuff. And Anna Marie's like, exactly. Garcelle and Kyle arrive next, then Dorit, then Sutton. Garcelle in a talking head goes, I have never been to Spain. I always wanted to go to Spain. I am looking forward to the food, the culture, the men, the life. Have we ever, I think we saw Garcelle go on like one date, but like wouldn't you love to see a real date with Garcelle or Garcelle really date somebody? Like I would love to see what that's like because she's always making sexy jokes. So like, does Garcelle like to like throw down, like is Garcelle, hey, does the carpet match the drapes, gentlemen? Like does Garcelle really like to, I'm just so curious, or is it just kind of like fun, flirty talk? Anyways, I also want to say this actually was really cool because it reminded me of my Spain trip I took. What was that, 5 years ago now? It was pre-pandemic, like when it was like 6 months, 6 or 7 months before the pandemic, I think. And I went with my best friend Nick and his sister and our other buddy Matt and Nick's parent, Nick and Jess's parents. And we went to Spain and we started off in Barcelona and we went to the Primavera Music Festival out there and got to see Tame Impala and Miley Cyrus and all these Jungle, all these amazing bands. And their festivals will last throughout the night. And we had the best food. I mean, I remember this one place, you guys. We went to this place Bourdain recommended that was just so amazing. And then we went to this place. I mean, they had shrimp the size of my fist. And it was just so amazing. And it was one of those times, you know, that like when you looked the best, like I was like slim. My beard didn't have any white in it. And it was just, and I was like, I was, you know, out of my marriage. And it was like, it was such an important trip. And like, I remember my parents being really excited for me to go, and it was just really, really fucking nice. And then we went to there, and then we stopped, and we did a stop on a train, and then we went to Madrid, and just the architecture and Gaudi and all of this. I mean, I just couldn't recommend Spain anymore because I've only been to Japan and Spain. Those are like my two overseas trips, and it was just so magical. And so it was kind of nice. I was like, oh, I kind of know a little bit about where they're going. Which you will get none of that flavor with this recap. So, but it was great, man. And they're all big in siestas in Madrid, and they would all, you know, everybody I was with would go take naps, and there was like a little pub that was like right down, like literally downstairs from where we were staying at the Airbnb, and I would have like a cider, and they had the cider in this cool, like this really cool like way to pour it out that they would bring to the table, and I remember just like I would be writing in my notebook, and this was before the podcast, and I would be writing notes about what I wanted it to be, this show. And I would be doing that, and I would be listening to this album by local natives. I remember listening to a Lizzo album, a Grateful Dead album, and I would just kind of like sit there and people watch while they were siestaing, and it's just one of the best times of my life. You know, I look forward to more times like that, hopefully. Anyways, they all make their way to the plane and find their seats in first class, and we see short videos of their plane ride over. I'm kind of the mind I would like to see an entire episode of just the plane ride. Like, I would love a full 12-hour plane ride. Dorit's like, I have my ritual, my PJs. And she's dressed in her Chanel pajamas and slippers worth $1,217. I swear to God, whenever Dorit puts on something expensive now, I'm scared that she's going to get burgled, even on the plane, of like, take that off. Like, oh no, PTSD. Crystal goes, yes, queen. Wow, your pajama outfit is worth more than like my wedding dress. And Dorit goes, sweetheart, if you're going to travel, travel in style. And Crystal's like, these are my pajamas. And they put up a chyron that says $7.99 on clearance. 12 hours later, we see Sutton going, well, we're about to land. It looks real pretty outside from here. We also, before they had, 12 hours before, like, we saw Kyle cracking a book, but like, I want to know what you watched on the plane, what movies and TV you watched. Man, there was something so exciting. I always say something so exciting about watching movies on a plane. You're like, to me, it's not even the fact that the plane can actually fly in the air. It's the fact that, like, whoa, we can get TV up here. Like, that's the thing to me of like, man, technology is wild. But you will watch, and I read this article, how you are more likely to watch a film on a plane and cry. There's something about elevation and stuff that actually opens up your sinuses and makes you a little more emotional, because I will routinely cry on planes depending on what I'm watching. Are you guys like that? Anyways, they're off the plane, they're gathering their slew of luggage, and they're making their way to the Sprinter van. And they open the door of the Sprinter van, and Heather Gay is in there, and she's pissing and puke. No. Kyle's taking a selfie video of everyone going, guys, are we excited to be in Spain? And they all clap, and we see a chyron that says Barcelona, Spain. And we were shown like just the beauty of Spain, from city buildings, cathedrals, beautiful architecture, bustling shops, beaches, azure-colored water with bright sailboats, winding roads along the coast surrounded by lush green fir trees. We see the sign that says Sitges. Son's like, well, we're going to draw for rooms, so it's fair. And Dorit's like, nice. He doesn't sound too nice. And Son's like, well, but all the rooms are beautiful, so it's going to be okay. Suddenly, the talking head goes, well, the house where we're staying is in Sitges, one of the first places where the Musk Cunningham Dance Company performed in Europe. How amazing is that? Now I got his ashes with me. I say. They show us a villa at Airbnb Sant Per de Rips, Spain, and we see an archive flyer from 1966 for Merce's event back then. And Sutton's like, well, so we got a quick little rise. I wanted to play a little game. What is the deal with fucking games on shows this season on Bravo? Like, did we lose the power of actual natural conversation where they're like, hey, let's play a game? But Sutton's like, yeah, we're going to play a game real quick. This one's called Russian Roulette. And Sutton literally pulls out a pistol and she's like, just goes, well, we're going to each get a shot of this, right? We're going to play Russian Roulette. Hey, come on, let's do this. Take a shot of this vodka. Let's go. Eric's like, no. And Sutton's like, well, come on. I have a prize for the winner, whoever wins. And Garcelle's like, is it a Birkin? And Sutton's like, well, come on. It's a good prize. The game is called, get this, called All of a Sudden. So all of a sudden, but all of a sudden. And that's, once again, I was like, okay, yeah, we need to ban games. And Kyle, in a sarcastic voice, is like, isn't that cute and clever? And Crystal's like, let's play a game about me, and let's call it me. Oh. Anyways, Sutton reads from her phone, goes, okay, first question, name one of my cat's names. And Erica's like, Prance. And Sutton's like, well, you get a point, Erica. If you get 2 points, I'm going to buy you your old Pasadena house back. That's the prize. Question, what was one of my first jobs in New York City? And Dorit shoots her arm in the air. Hoo, hoo, hoo. And Erica's like, Marista. And Dorit's like, Starbucks. And Kyle's like, stripper. And Garcelle goes, oh, that's Erica. And Erica goes, ha, ha, ha. You're damn right. And guess what? Nothing's changed. I like Erica's inference of, I'm still stripping. I'm throwing around these meat bags, showing these men my legs, getting an old lap dance from Aunt Jane. But anyways, they're all hooting and laughing, having fun. And Sutton's like, well, you made a lot more money than I did as a nanny. I was a nanny. That's what my job was in New York. A nanny, I say. We need to interview those kids. I would love to hear nanny Sutton stories. Yeah. Sutton took us down for ice cream, and she just ended up buying the ice cream store. It was crazy. Anyways, the next question is, what is my father's name? And Crystal's like, Mr. Sutton. And then Erica's like, I know your father's name. It's John. And Sutton's like, yeah, John T. But I won't take John. I'll take it. Sutton to Garcelle goes, well, you're really disappointing me, Garcelle. Well, I'm out here trying. And Sutton's like, well, okay, question. What is the name of my middle child? And Garcelle goes, Philip. Yeah, you got one, Garcelle. Last question. What is my second car that's not the Bentley? Yeah, not the Bentley. And Dorit's like, Chevrolet, Chevy. And Erica's like, F-150. And Sutton's like, I do believe that Miss Erica Jane is the winner. Sutton in the talking head goes, Garcelle, I really thought that you'd be the winner since we talk almost every day. I say, a lot just listen to Sutton talk about her life and night, and then we hit the 80s, you know. Oh, sorry. By the way, that was I wrote a note. I wrote a note going, how funny would it be of Garcelle just has to listen to Sutton talk on the phone every night, you know, like, well. And then the 1980s started, Garcelle, and Garcelle's just like, zzz. Anyways, Garcelle on a talking head goes, listen, I'm her bestie, but, you know, I can't know everything. And then Erica on a talking head goes, I know every answer, so who's the best friend here? Garcelle goes, well, what does she get? And Dorit's like, a tiara. And Garcelle's like, from Dolce & Gabbana. And Sutton's like, no, from Sutton's store. I like that Sutton, I'm telling you, I don't think Sutton cares to or even makes probably a dime of profit over at Sutton's store. I bet she just goes in there. She's like, oh shit, I gotta grab something for this little game on the trip. I'm just gonna grab. I bet she just grabs and goes. People are doing inventory. They're like, why is there always things missing? And Sutton just grabs. They finally arrive at a huge Spanish tiled roof and weathered stucco historic-looking villa and immediately get off the Sprinter van. And Garcelle's like, I see sangria. And they are greeted by Zoe, the Airbnb host. Hello, ladies. And she and Sutton hug, and Zoe's like, welcome to Villa Catalina. And all the ladies are given a glass of sangria, and Erica to Kyle's like, is that your Shirley Temple? And Kyle's like, it is. Non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
The ladies enter the villa and they see the heavy Spanish architecture, thick dark wood beams on the ceiling, staircase railings, lots of wood carving, details, stucco walls, chandeliers, heavy antique furniture. Sutton and the talking head's like, well, this house is this chateau rustic looking house. And Zoe's like, welcome to Villa Catalina. It was built in the 14th century, so it is over 700 years old. Erica's like,
Wow, Jesus time's up here. Yeah, 700 years old. That's almost as old as Tom Girardi.
by the way, Erica's probably going to be a squatter at this house.
I'm never leaving. I've got rights. I got squatter rights. Yeah.
And Zoe was like, it was built by one of the famous wine producing families in Spain. They show a cavern-looking wine cellar with very old rustling racks full of extremely dusty $2 chalk wine bottles, as well as dozens of old wood wine barrels. And Zoe continues, while it's been fully restored, we have left some of the original features. And just to warn you that, and Erica finishes, goes,
It's haunted.
And Zoe smiles, well,
yeah, that's what you're going to tell us. I knew it. I'm Erica Jane. I'm a ghost hunter.
And Zoe's like, well, I've never seen anything.
I felt it. It's haunted.
All the ladies look at Erica and gasp. And Erica in a talking head goes,
I do have the ability to smell different spirits.
And the producer in a talking head goes like, wait, so you smell spirits? And Erica's like,
yeah, I really can.
By the way, Erica probably is just smelling her own farts. And you're like,
wow, that smells like Taco Bell. Oh, must be a spirit. There's a dark energy I smell.
It's probably just Lisa Rinna with Vaseline all over her face.
Wow, I smell a dark force.
That's Freddie Mellencamp, Eric. How are we like 30 seasons in to Erica being a cast member, and we just found out she's a Ghostbuster? Like, who are you gonna call?
Erica Jane and Mikey Minden.
When there's something strange in your neighborhood, who are you gonna call?
Erica Jane. I'm gonna do a loud dance on a ghost.
Ghostbusters. When Lisa Rinna is dancing on Instagram, who are you gonna call?
Erica Jane. I didn't take nothing from those victims. Fuck off.
Ghostbusters. Erica goes,
Son, you booked us a haunted house.
And Dorit's like, what? What? Like, Dorit's always like just so wet blanket all of a sudden. Dorit and the talking head's like, what the fuck? Who the hell says that? Chill out, Dorit. My God. They didn't say, like, we've lost lives here. Anna Maria and the talking head's like, no. We all know who goes first in the horror movies. And she's pointing to herself. And I was like, oh, anesthesiologist? What do you mean? Garcelle and the talking head's like, between me and Anna Maria, I hope it's her. Zoe goes, the previous owners told us there are some little people. And Son's like, well, so you failed to mention this earlier. This is in none of those Airbnb reviews I read about no little people. And Zoe's like, well, they're super friendly spirits. And Kyle's like, are you saying ghosts? And Anna Marie's like, she's saying ghosts. And Crystal's like, but they're friendly. They hang out. And Anna Marie's like, she's saying they're little guys running around, little Vern Troyers. And Anna Marie, by the way, you're like, you know Anna Marie's going to see these little ghosts and be like, it looks like you have a small esophagus, little person. Little tiny ghost. I bet you have ED. Little tiny ghost man. Kyle goes, see them or hear them and feel them. What's going on? And Zoe's like, don't be worried at all. And Erica's like,
we're gonna die. Yeah, we're gonna die.
Sutton and the talking head's like, well, what's she talking about? Willis? Aliens? Come on. Anna Marie and the talking head's like, what are these little people? Like, are these ghosts? Are these Martians? And Erica and the talking head's like,
what are they, God knows? I have no idea. I don't even care, really. Do they have money?
Garcelle and the talking head's like, well, they would be little and really pale and have these hairs sticking out and their eyes are big and they're coming for me, Garcelle. The production changes her voice and makes it squeaky, like, Garcelle. And Erica's like,
You guys just embrace it.
And Kyle's like, what the hell? I like that Erica's, you can tell she's kind of used to any scenario, like just even potentially dating way older men. I'm like,
Yeah, just go with it. Yeah, just let yourself go. Yeah, just let these aliens touch you. Yeah, not a big deal. Maybe it'll work out.
Zoe's like, well, I'm sure you ladies are really tired after your journey, so we prepare some cookies and some tapas, and Sutton, let me know that you're going to draw for the rooms. What you're going to draw for the rooms. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, Kim's there? Is she going to draw on the walls? But she meant draw for the rooms. And Anna Marie's like, I just want the least haunted room. And the ladies all pick a number out of a bowl, go find their rooms. And Sutton's like, well, what is it? What is this? Is this a 9 or a 6? Is this a 69? What's going on? The one without the little people, please. Ooh, I have a bathtub. Yeah. Anna Marie's like, I have 10. Oh, wow. This is cute. Nice digs. And Chris is like, this is my favorite room in the house. And Anna Marie's like, oh, and I have the view of the pool. Crystal's like, oh my God, lucky 8. I love it. This is a great room. This is really nice. Now, in the Chinese culture, the number 8 is the luckiest. And Erica's like,
yeah, this is really nice. Yeah.
And Garcelle's like, is this a 7 or an F? And so he's like, it's a 7. And Sutton's like, well, you're close to me, Garcelle. And Garcelle's like, okay, so this is my room. It's okay, yeah. And then Erica's like,
I have 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
And she's meaning Kyle, Dorit, and Erica. But also, I thought this would be a great, like, Sesame Street, teach your kids how to count. Like, learn to count with Erica Jane.
1, 2, 3. That all goes to me. I'm not going to share any of those numbers with you. I earned those numbers. How dare you? Fuck those victims.
So Erica goes into her room and goes,
I'm good. Okay. The spirits aren't here.
She smells and she can tell that the spirits aren't here. Kyle's room, number 2, is next. Kyle wheels her suitcase in, and out of nowhere, fucking she unzips it. Morgan Wade pops out. Hey, Kyle, it worked. I was in stowage. Here, it's all hot. This suitcase smells like shit kickers and love. What are we gonna do in Barcelona? No, Morgan's not in her suitcase. I do miss Morgan, though. I wish more Morgan, the better. Treats to Kyle, who's like, okay, so I'm going to be using your full-length mirror, Kyle. And Dorit's like, and this is 1. This is my room. All right, great. And Eric in the talking head's like,
I don't need ghosts and little people in my life. I'm on medication. I'm trying very hard to remain stable.
That's a kind of a funny line, but then I was also thinking, like, what are you talking about? Like, medication? Like, are you talking about your SSRIs, your antidepressants? Like, I'm like, what medication? Because also I don't want to like antidepressants, you guys. It's not like I always want to like kind of deflate the mystery. Like, it doesn't turn you into this wacky where like you're trying to remain stable. Like it really does help. And I was like, what is she exactly talking about? I don't know. It just confused me. Anyways, Kyle's like, is that hatch on the ceiling an attic? And Erica pushes it.
No, it's a vent.
And Dorit's like, no, it's an attic. I'm telling you. Oh, wouldn't it be great if they do a Flowers in the Attic reenactment? Kyle's like, now you've left it cracked. Kyle in a talking head goes, in a house like this, you don't open vents. You don't go into attics or basements. Everybody knows that. Erica's like,
nobody jumped out of there.
And Dorit's like, yet. And Zoe's like, so if you ladies would like to get ready, we will have dinner prepared for you soon. And the ladies get their luggage and begin settling into their rooms. Dorit rolls her luggage into a room, and a camera operator follows her, bumps into a wall behind her, and Dorit shrieks. She's like, oh, my pit stop, my PTSD, oh, fucking hell. And the camera operator's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I do love, like, I would love to follow the staff, like Zoe that works there. I want a little bit more of a below deck vibe when they go on trips now, because I want to know how Zoe's like, oh my God, they're fucking crazy. Did you hear what they did with the news of the ghost? It was like nonstop, like Jesus Louise. Next, the parade of glam arrives. Remember, a lot of these ladies brought glam, including Garcelle. Garcelle and the talking head's like, oh my God, it's excessive. I've never traveled with glam before this group, but it is a must because you got to keep up with these bitches. Suddenly, we hear a big thud in Dorit's room, and Kayla, Dorit's assistant's like, "Oh my God, it fell!" And Dorit's like, "It fell! Oh my God! Oh my God! Beep boop bop, beep boop boop!" And I thought, "Oh my God, what fell?" And there's a bar holding the hangers in Dorit's closet, and it made all the clothes fall on the floor. And this could be the little people. This could be the ghosts. This could be the aliens. And Erica's like,
It fell down.
and she starts cackling. And Kyle's like, "How does the closet fall down?" And Kayla, in a spooky voice, is like, "By the little people." And Dorit, in a talking head, goes, "Ay, Dios mío, I'm a child of the world. Chanel does not belong on the floor." And by the way, her dress, Chanel, like, it was in a garment bag. So I think it's okay. Kyle is unloading her luggage and is like, "I don't think I packed properly for this place." Dorit comes into Kyle. "What the hell is this? Pleather with rhinestones? Oh, Kyle, it's dental floss." She picks up Kyle's silver mini dress with thin straps. I mean, that takes some real balls for Dorit, of all people, to comment on somebody else's fashion. Kyle, in a talking head, goes, "Well, I'm sorry I'm not serving widow from the 1950s with all my outfits." That was in a talking head, not to Dorit's face. Kyle usually will never say the mean thing to their face. She laughs at her total dig at Dorit as they flash a photo of Dorit in a chic black plant suit with a gray and blue fake fur collar. Dorit is sifting through Kyle's things like, "Ooh, I wonder if Kyle will see if I pocket a couple of these things and sell them on..." So it was... "Sell them on my eBay store." No, she goes, "That's a lot of leather you brought, Kyle. What's all with these whips?" Oh, Kyle in a Kyle in a talking head goes, "I never know what I'm going to be in the mood for, so I have a variety of things. Leather leggings are my go-to. These are crotchless." No, so Kyle's even confused right now, even with clothing. It could go either way. Dorit, examining another skimpy black piece of Kyle's, goes, "Not in Spain? Ho-ho!" You can tell the thought is like, "You are so naughty, Kyle." Kyle continues in a talking head, "Maybe my clothes do look like a hooker. Big deal." Because that's part of freedom. She's finding the freedom to be her. And if she wants to dress like a hooker, and by the way, we don't say hooker anymore. We say lady of note. What do we say? Sex worker? That's what I think. That's the proper term, Kyle. Come on. Dorit's like, "Okay, well, you've got a bathing suit." And Kyle's like, "G-string." And Dorit gasps, "Kyle, who are you? Who is this new person?" Almost as to say, like, "You're a sex deviant, Kyle. You're going to be like a gimp. She's a big old black mask with a zipper, Kyle." Dorit in the jogging head goes, "I don't know this Kyle. Yes, she's got an amazing body and she wants to show it off with little tatas. I get it. But what are you thinking when you're packing like this? Hoo-hoo, bee-boo, bobby, boo. Is Kyle looking for her next husband in Spain?" And Kyle's like, "This is supposed to cover my ass, this part." And by the way, Dorit, she might even be looking for a wife in Spain. Doesn't have to be a husband. Dorit's like, "Well, I'm going to go get ready, you pervert. I don't know what you're doing." And Kyle's like, "I'm going to go put my things away." "Well, honey, maybe some of the things you need to put away. And Kyle's like throw away?" "Yes, like garbage can. Beep boop, bobby, boop, boop, boop." Night has fallen. The ladies are getting clamped by their teams. They're gathering downstairs as they become ready. Crystal and Sutton are descending the marble staircase first. Ooh, I am running out of steam. Let's get okay. So night has fallen. The ladies are getting glammed. They come downstairs. Sutton's like, "Well, we're gonna sound like tap dancers all the way down with our shoes all clickety clackety." Crystal's like, "Is that live music?" And there's a guitarist playing and a woman singing in the courtyard. And I was like, wouldn't it be great if PK was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Berlin, take my breath away." Sutton's like, "Yeah, come on. I told you there would be music. Come on." Crystal grabs Sutton around her waist. "This is so romantic." And they was like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful." And Sutton's like, "Come on, let's go to the bar. I like my drinks strong, and I don't drink that many of them. Come on." Garcelle's almost ready, and Anna Maria is waiting with her. And Garcelle's like, "We're fully in a haunted house. There's doors that look like they shouldn't even be opened." And the cameras show a creepy door being opened, the hinge squeaky eerily. And Garcelle's like, "I don't fucking play with that shit. I don't play with Ouija boards. I don't play with ghosts." In a talking head, she says, Listen, I'm Haitian, and where I'm from, there's voodoo, there's witchcraft. Growing up, I would hear stories, they went to a funeral and it was an open casket and the person turned into a goat. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Garcelle? Turned into a goat? Like, who the fuck cares about Beverly Hills all the season? You're telling me there's a funeral where somebody got turned into a goat and we're not going there? Like, the fucking rest of this season should be hunting down this story. Like, turned into a goat? Like, how am I going to fucking think about Erica for the rest of this hour? Like, I'm going to just be thinking about a fucking thing or a person turned into a goat where you live. She's like, or I would hear drums in the middle of the night and we weren't allowed to look outside because they didn't want us to see. I don't want any part of it because I believe those things do exist. Somebody turned into a goat. What? That's the Lifetime movie I want to see out of Garcelle of like, she turned into a goat. My new film for Lifetime. Sorry. Garcelle goes, if there's any ghosts in here, please be nice. Don't scare me. And then out of nowhere, Lisa Rinna's like, ah, you thought you had seen the last of Lisa Rinna, but I'm here in Barcelona. I've got moisturizer slathered all over my face and little eye patches under my eyes. And sorry. So anyways, it's 11 p.m. and they're outside for dinner. So it's a late start. We go to Kyle's room. She's having trouble getting things on. She's, and Dorit's like, well, Kyle, don't wear your stripper heels. And Kyle's like, I'll skip the stripper heels. All right, honey, I'll see you in a minute downstairs. So they go downstairs. They're getting drinks. Kyle's still in her room, trying to find the right outfit. She's going through things. And this is why, listen, for me, it's so simple. I either wear dirty basketball shorts or I have 2 pairs of jeans that actually fit. Like, I have a lot of jeans. They're like every jean I own besides those 2 are like dream jeans for when my body magically goes back to how it was. But until then, it's not much of a choice. I either put the blue jeans on or I put the black jeans on. And once the blue jeans or the black jeans are on, they don't come off. Like, I'm not like, oh, no, you know what? Let's go with the blue jeans instead. No, I'm like, you're in the black jeans. You're not, there's no other, it's done. Anyways, Erica's going down to the courtyard herself. Son's like, oh my gosh, Erica has her present on from the game earlier. It's the tiara. She's like,
yeah, it's the tiara. We stuck it on real quickly. All right.
And Garcelle's like, well, it looks good on you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I won the prize. I'm not going to give this to the victims neither.
Kyle finally appears, moving slowly, joining them. And Erica's like,
Senorita, you are sexy, you bitch. I love you for this. You look beautiful.
At the moment, a young man dressed in a chef's jacket emerges from a door in the courtyard. And he's like, hi, welcome to Villa Catalina. I'm Storm. And Erica's like,
hola, yeah, hola.
And he's like, I'm the chef. Garcelle's like, hi, Storm. Hi, chef, Sutton says.
Well, he's hot.
And Garcelle in a talking head's like, Storm can feel free to rain all over me. Bring it. Listen, kick the kids out of the car real quick, or just and this is between me, this is what I'm talking about. Does Garcelle mean jizz? Is that what she's just like Storm can feel free to rain all over me? What is Garcelle talk? Listen, Garcelle has fucking watched people turn into goats. I don't know what she means. Can feel free to rain all over me. Like, it's either sweat or like the but I was like, damn, Garcelle, this poor Storm guy, it's probably his first chef job and he's getting catcalled by all these ladies. Storm's like, well, I hope you enjoy the house and the food. We're going to have the typical Spanish tapas. So whatever you want, you can go inside. Dinner's ready. And Garcelle's like, are you here the whole time we're here? And everybody's laughing because everybody's flirting with him. And Storm's like, yeah, I'll be this whole week here. But by the way, Storm should be like, yeah, but I'm going to have to actually probably file a complaint with HR over the behavior right now. So everybody's like, nice to meet you, Storm. Oh my God. And Garcelle calls out, thank you, chef. And she quietly says to Erica, we can tag team them. And Erica's like,
anytime you want. You go first. I'll take second.
Okay, Garcelle says. Like, my God.
I'm gonna fuck that guy 6 ways from Sunday. Yeah. He's a little 40 years younger than what I usually go for. But yeah, I won't take seconds. You wear him out.
Eric, anyways, Anyways, they're all having a good. It's actually fun to watch them have a good time. Garcelle in a talking head as they're bringing the food out. He's like, he can cook. He has an accent. We're in Spain. I mean, ole. Who writes these lines for them? Ay, Dios mío. So anyways, the ladies move inside of the dining room, and Sutton's like, well, okay, I brought a special guest, ladies. And Anna Marie's like, one of the ghosts? And Kyle's like, whoa! And Anna Marie's like, stop it, Kyle. And Sutton's holding a box, and he's like, I would like to introduce you all to... His name is Mus Cunningham. I'll say. And she holds the box open, and the ladies are looking at the Ziploc baggie of ashes. And Sutton continues, and he is a world-renowned choreographer. He's a real big deal. And Kyle's smirking, like, in a little box? And Dorit's like, is he supposed to go into a little Ziploc like that? What is Dorit's fucking problem this season with the Kyle outfit? I mean, she can't even agree on a Ziploc. Sutton's like, well, come on, it came like this, in an envelope. And Kyle's like, but that's a Ziploc. Well, when you get ashes, it's called an envelope. And Kyle whispers an alert, to Erica, it's a Ziploc. And Dorit's like, oh, dear. Garcelle in a talking head goes, this man meant so much to you and he's in a Ziploc? Kyle in a talking head says, I don't want to be put in a Ziploc bag. Put me in a Birkin, fine. But a Ziploc? Nope. No, come on. Doesn't Ziploc, like, Birkin should make Ziplocs, by the way. Sutton explains, well, he was one of the founders of modern dance. He invented the Roger Rabbit and the Running Man. No, Erica's like, okay, yeah, with Martha Graham and all of them, yeah. Twyla, she means Twyla Tharp, Mikey Minden, all the greats. And Sutton's like, yeah, Twyla studied under him. Okay, there you go. Erica goes, Mus Cunningham was a real legend, and I kind of feel like a loser for not knowing about him, because I know so much about Bob Fosse, Alvin Ailey, other greats. So when I asked Mikey, I said, who's Mus Cunningham? He said, how dare you? And I got checked by my old friend, America Jane. So Erica's like, well, so how did you know him? And says like, well, I worked for him for 6 years. I was the studio manager, and we came very close. We had a very special relationship. In a talking head, she goes, Mus and I had a bond immediately when I was working in the studio with him. I think he liked me as a dancer. And we see a photo of 1994 of a brunette Sutton dressed in a costume practicing dance. Sutton continues, well, and he liked my work ethic. And I'd go over to his apartment, and he would cook. And he liked how I watered his plants. Like, and now my mind is just so thrown off by this episode. I was like, is she like watered his plants? Like he liked like how I watered his plants. Is that like a euphemism for like the hippity dippity? Like was like, yeah, but I don't think so. I think she probably literally watered his plants, but who knows? They were just fucking hitting on that 20-year-old chef a second ago. Sutton at the dinner table is like, well, when my father died, one of the first calls I got was from Mus. So we were like, we were sweet together. And Erica's like, yeah, super close. In a talking head, Sutton's like, well, he was just such a unique person. He didn't mind my quirkiness. I say, he never called me weird. He never said anything bad about me. He liked me. Mus was one of the most important men in my life, which I thought was actually very sweet. They show us a photo of a now blonde Sutton and an aged Mus from 1999. Sutton looks beautiful in that photo. Storm enters the room, and Dorit sees him first and is like, Storm! Ooh la la! Good evening, ladies. I have here smoked salmon with caviar and cream cheese, and we'll keep on bringing out the tapas. And the ladies laugh like schoolgirls, still sexualizing Storm. Crystal in a talking head says, all these women are like, ooh, hi, pay attention to me. Oh my God, I love your food. Garcelle at the table's like, everybody's into Storm, whether he's married or not. Like Garcelle's like, we'll break that fucking marriage up in a second. They show a female server now distributing prosciutto and cheese on a crusty bread. That was the ham, the jamon in Spain. Amazing. I like that they have female servers out there because Storm's like, I can't go back out there. It is too much with these ladies. Eric is like, this is the best ham and cheese I've ever had. And Dorit's like, this salmon is delicious. Ooh. And Dorit's like, it's melting in your mouth. Kind of like Storm. And then Eric's like, it bursts in your mouth. Yeah. It's so yummy. And then Garcelle's like, it's creamy. And now I'm really uncomfortable watching this scene. And Crystal's like, oh, come on, her face. Dorit's like, with the accoutrement. Like with a crumb frosh on it. Woohoo. And then Erica, they bring out like, gazpacho. Yeah, yummy. Erica Jane loved gazpacho. And Gar's like, I like when you go to different countries and you have to eat what they bring you. It forces you to try things. Like, I would never eat that. Yeah, that's why I love like the International House of Pancakes. I'm like, yeah, like I don't get to go overseas a lot. So it's great to go to IHOP because you're like, oh, this is how they do it over there, but it's here, you know? Anna Marie's like, okay, I just want to interrupt, but I feel like there's a bit of an elephant in the room. You are the elephant. And there's something I need to get off my chest. Last weekend was a lot. There was a lot of things that was said. And I mean, on my part, I can apologize for. Sutton and I talked and we flashed back to that esophagus scene. And Anna Marie is like, I hope we're in a better place. And Sutton's like, well, you know what? The esophagus stuff is fine. My problem with what you said was you said lonely and insecure. We flash back to the Homeless Not Toothless gala where Anna Marie's like, I'm going to wake up in the morning to my amazing children and my amazing husband who calls me an 8.5 and my amazing life. And thank God that I am not lonely and I'm not insecure. And Garcelle in that scene is like, damn, girl. Sutton's like, who's lonely and insecure? Now, at the tapas table, Sutton's like, well, I didn't like that. You have 3 divorcees at this table. I think I was more lonely during my marriage. You know, he traveled a lot. And then he didn't travel. When he didn't travel, he was asleep because he was working all the time, you know, to eventually pay for my Sutton store. And I think we can understand that. And you shouldn't have used the word lonely. You know, yeah. Come on, you want to call me lonely? I got Santos. I've got Arby. I got this little bag of ashes called muss. You think a lonely person has a little Ziploc bag? No, sirree, ma'am. Anna Marie's like, I can own that. And Garcelle goes, well, lonely affected me too. Garcelle in a talking head says, Anna Marie saying that if you're single, you're lonely and desperate. I took offense to that because I'm single. So if you don't have a man, you're lonely and desperate? Come on. And Anna Marie says firmly, several of us were angry that night. I said things I was not proud of, and I apologize for them, okay? I'm sorry I called you lonely. And Garcelle in a talking head says, wow, if this is Anna Marie's apology, don't apologize because I'm not accepting it. And Anna Marie's like, I'm sorry that affected you. I'm sorry that I said lonely if that affected you. Anybody else I may have offended, I apologize for that comment. I was angry. And Crystal goes, are you calling me insecure? And then Anna Marie goes, we're going to get to you. And it's like, oh, God. Dorit's like, zoinks. And Erica buries her face in her hand and Sutton frowns. Anna Marie, you are not in a place yet to dictate these sort of conversations. Like, we'll get to you. How about we'll get to you not being on the show anymore? Like, no, girl. No. And I hate people because I think it's also fault. I think she is mistaken in that she thinks Crystal is potentially the weak one. She thought it was Sutton, and Sutton wasn't playing. And now she's moved on to Crystal, and I think it's not going to work out again. But like, no, you are not in a place to do this. Just fucking enjoy your ham and shut up, you know? Anna Marie's like, let's talk about the Crystal situation. See, the first night that Crystal and I met was at a mutual friend's house around the holidays. We see a photo of them in 2022. The first thing Crystal said to me about this group of women was that you ladies were not intelligent. And Garcelle goes, damn. And Anna Marie's like, nobody was educated and you're very shallow. She's saying Crystal said all this stuff to her. And Crystal goes, shallow and uneducated? And Dorit goes, shallow? It's funny, Dorit saying shallow. Dorit being the one to say shallow, like, I've heard that before. Sutton's like, well, she knows I'm educated. So, yeah, I mean, come on. Would a non-educated person carry around a man's ashes in a Ziploc? I don't think so. Anyways, Sutton's like, well, come on. Like, you know, Garcelle's like, well, we're all educated. And Sutton laughs. And Crystal's like, that's ridiculous. And Dorit in the talking head goes, you're nowhere near more educated than the rest of us, Crystal. Beep-boop, bobby, boop, boop. By the way, child bride, while you were busy getting married at 12, the rest of us were building businesses, graduating college, doing things, you know, to educate ourselves. Beverly Beach, woohoo! Buca de Beppo to Reach Room. I put together a small room at a franchise chain restaurant. Do you think I need a degree? Damn it. Dorit, this poor Dorit, man. Oh. I feel so bad. I don't feel bad, but it's like, dude, maybe talking isn't your thing. Child bride, do you realize the age difference between you and PK? Do you realize Erica Jane's she's still married to Tom Girardi? Do you realize how dumb you actually sound this season? Now multiple times? Child bride? Yes, there was an age difference. Yes, they're still together. What is it, 20 years later, right? What the fuck are you talking about? And you always do it in like some talking head situation because you're so boneheaded in actual conversations lately when it's one-on-one or in a group setting, and then you just run away. But my God, you are not doing yourself any favors. Like, listen, if you've listened to my recaps, I always like, oh, Dorit's a staple. Like, Dorit will always be there. And now after the season, I'm starting to go, well, God, maybe Dorit doesn't have. I mean, like, I was even thinking about just the dynamics of the group of like, wow, who would have thought a couple years ago that Sutton would be this kind of like connector? Like Sutton's friends with Crystal, Sutton's friends with Garcelle. Kyle and Sutton kind of go toe to toe a lot, but at the same time, you can tell Kyle that will eventually be okay. Erica kind of has to play ball now that Rinna's gone. But Dorit is kind of this odd man out right now. And I'm just so confused by this because it didn't have to be this way. But if she keeps saying dumb shit like that, it is not going to go well for her, I fear. And I do think she actually needs this gig. And I just feel, I don't know, it just, damn, child bride? Like, that's wild to me. So Crystal's like, well, listen, I would not say that to someone that I just met. I don't feel that way. Crystal and a talking head's like, that's false. I never said those things. Now, the producers rewind to do a troll of Crystal and a talking head from 2020, where she says, no, these women are quite savvy, but they're clearly not highly educated. I don't know. I just didn't super care because I remember like, yeah, but she said they're savvy, but they're not clearly not highly educated. But I think that was when they were actually coming for Crystal as well. And I don't know, like, I don't know. I know I don't like Anna Marie. I don't get good vibes from her. And also I can see where you would say if you're having to fucking talk about like victims and shit like that, there is a level of stupidity that I think reality shows kind of highlight, even if it's not the case. But it's, I don't know, it's a throwaway comment to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, but it just didn't really matter. And I just thought Anna Marie was the wrong person to be saying this. Like, wait, I thought we were talking about what you said, Anna Marie, and now you're talking about something that got brought up at a party in 2020. That also just makes you an untrustworthy asshole, man. Anyways, Anna Marie's like, I would really like for you to be honest, though, with what you said about the ladies. And Crystal's like, I didn't say that. And Garcelle and talking to goes, do we have a history with Crystal thinking that maybe we were less smart than her? And we do a flashback to 2020 where Crystal's like, I'm not going to change the word I use. That word was used correctly. Also in 2020, Crystal going, violation means to abuse your privacy, a disrespect of boundaries, period. Google it. And again in 2021, Crystal going, I know these are big words. And Garcelle's like, we understand big words. Garcelle talking head goes, we kind of already knew that Crystal thinks that maybe some of us aren't as astute as her. Now, there's a word for her. And Anna Marie says, well, then you said that the ladies were fake socialites and that you were the only true socialite in the group. And Erica talking head goes,
is that kind of like a northeast, southeast kind of thing? Well, what is that, like a cotillion?
And Sutton waving her glass of wine is like, well, we all know that I am a socialite, so who cares? I don't know. I just don't even picture Crystal ever saying that she's a socialite. I mean, Sutton cracks me up because most people wouldn't call themselves a social, like, I love that Sutton, like, well, I won't be I would love to be called a socialite, but Crystal, that doesn't strike me as her vibe. Anyways, Garcelle goes, I don't want to be a socialite. And Anna Marie's like, nobody does. Dorita and a talking head's like, do I feel like Crystal could have said that? Yes, I can. What that basically is saying is, this is my excuse for not being interesting because my intellect is too high. No, you're boring. Woohoo! Oh, God. But also, Anna Marie is just so funny. Like, talking about boring, like, she's so flop. It's like flop sweat, such a flop that now she's telling shit from 2020 that I'm kind of befuddled, and I'm kind of befuddled that a lot of these ladies even entertain it. Like, I feel like they should have been like, Anna Marie, shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, like, it feels floppish. Like the esophagus was one thing, and now it's this. It's like, my God, girl, like, just chill out. Like, just chill out. Ride the wave. And Dorit, you really shouldn't be talking about anybody being boring this season. Anna Marie's like, that's like embarrassing. Why would you? And Garcelle is like, Crystal, did you say that? And Crystal goes, first of all, it's offensive that you asked me that, but no, I didn't say that. Well, she's accusing you, so I'm asking you. Why wouldn't I ask you? And Crystal's like, have I ever said that I was a socialite? And they're all like, no, no, no. And Crystal's like, have I said that I'm very social? And they're all like, yes, yes, yes. And Kyle's like, well, all the socialites I do know, they don't say that they're socialites. And Crystal's like, That is correct. Anna Marie in a talking head says, the first time I met Crystal, that was when she told me that all these girls were uneducated and shallow. I mean, I thought it was really crazy that somebody I just met 4 seconds ago was telling me this information. But now knowing Crystal better and how she acts, very on brand for her to do something like that. Anna Marie goes, you have this need, Crystal, to make people like you, need people to think that you're better than them. Are you projecting much? Like, Anna Marie, you have seemed so desperate from the jump, and you truly need people to think, like, you literally kind of like fudge what your profession is to make you sound better than you actually are, even though I think you have a great job, but you couldn't take, you didn't seem like you took a lot of pride in it. You were also misdiagnosing people, which you're not supposed to do. I mean, it was just wild. It feels like this is a complete projection. So it's like, well, no, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. Crystal's like, I've met you 6 times in my life. And Anna Marie's like, Crystal, that doesn't matter. It's what you've shown me, Crystal. And Crystal's like, give me an example of when I acted like I was better than you. Well, right now, I think you do because you're just not being honest. And Crystal's like, give me another example. And Anna Marie's like, Crystal. And Crystal's like, give me another example. And Kyle, in a talking head, goes, obviously, there's something about Anna Marie that provokes Crystal. Yeah, because she's coming out of nowhere with shit, Kyle. Like, I love that this is a miss. Like, what's going on? Like, this is really rattled Crystal. Because, by the way, it does have to be sometimes shitty to be the odd man out. And you're like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this trip to Barcelona and then be the one, like gets like looked at. Like, it's just going to suck, of like, damn it. I thought I was going to be good this trip. Kyle's like, Crystal's usually someone who's very reserved with her thoughts and feelings. I've never seen her have a response with someone like this. I think Anna Marie and Crystal need to talk alone so I don't have to hear any of it. No, Kyle, you supposedly brought her in. I don't think they need to do that. Crystal Dorit says, do you think I would call myself a socialite? This is so dumb to me. Like, I don't even care about socialites here nor there. Anyways, Anna Marie's like, go back to your insecurity thing, Crystal. And Crystal's like, you're the one who calls herself a doctor who's a nurse. And Anna Marie's like, see? And Crystal's like, enough. I do feel like also Anna Marie watched Beverly Hills before she got on it. I feel like she did because the 2 people that she's gotten into shit with, Sutton and Crystal, like 2 of the people that other people, I just find it funny. That's very interesting to me. Crystal on Talking Head says, Anna Marie says she wants to bring lightness and fun to wherever she goes, but actually what she does is she's antagonistic, she's combative, and she's very divisive. Divisive, she said. Anyways, Anna Marie's like, Crystal, bring it down a notch. Like, even that right there would just irk me so much. And Crystal's like, do not tell me to bring it down. And Anna Marie's like, you're acting like a hormonal teenager. And Crystal's like, oh my God. And Sutton yells, okay, come on, don't make the little people come out. I don't want nobody turning into a goat here. And Anna Marie's like, you know what else I want from you? I want to thank you. And Crystal's like, for what? For giving you something to talk about and making your ass relevant. You're such a dork flop, Anna Marie. I felt like you were about to bring out a burn book after this moment. Anyways, Erica's like, oh my God. Anna Marie and Talking Head's like, I'm sorry that I triggered you. I'm sorry that you find my life so interesting. She has nothing to talk about except for me. Anna Marie, she didn't bring you up. You brought her up. Like, that's what I find so funny. It's like, wait, Anna Marie, you brought all of this up. Nobody was talking about you. Like, let's just look at what we're actually dealing with right here. Anyways, Erica's hiding her head in her napkin. Sutton is squeezing her head. And Dorit's like, you guys, we've been up for a long time. We're traveled. Let's put a pin in it for tonight. And Anna Marie's like, don't take my kindness for weakness. And Crystal's like, when have you been kind? And Anna Marie's like, Crystal, I'm always... No, Anna Marie's like, Crystal, I'm always kind. Sutton in Talking Head says, well, I thought our first night in Spain was going to be amazing. We got wine, we got tapas. We got Hot Storm that we sexualized. We got this beautiful table. I'll say, and it's perfection. But no, let's ruin it, Anna Marie, by telling this story that Crystal hates us all, thinks we're stupid and vapid. Anyway, so they go to bed, and the ladies all head upstairs. And Garcelle's like, all right, let's go. Take the ashes in your phone, Sutton. Do you think we scared the baby ghosts? I'm sleeping in your room. I can't believe I'm saying that. And Sutton's like, I told you that you could. We can separate the beds into twin beds. Okay, all right, okay. Kyle sarcastically is like, well, that was a lot of fun. I'm going to go upstairs and call Morgan. Eric's like, yeah, see you later. Smell you fools later. Good night, everybody, Garcelle says. Okay, so it says Barcelona, Spain. The producer's note on the Chiron, it says 1 a.m. There's a loud thud. We see Garcelle scuttle from her room down the hall. This would be great if it turned into a murder mystery, but it didn't. And Garcelle on the talking head says, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm scared out of my mind. I'm even scared to go to Sutton's room, but I'm going anyway, so I'm tiptoeing around. The floors are creaky. I know there's a room with a crib in it. I don't want to see because I don't know who's in the crib. I love that she's so scared. I'm like, well, think about the poor cameraman filming you. If shit's about to go down, this guy's got a heavy camera. Anyways, Sutton and Garcelle gets into Sutton's room, and Garcelle's like, I want some snacks, and I'm not sleeping in my room, but I don't know if I want the ashes staring at me. Come on, this is the ugliest. And then they're making fun of Sutton's hat. And, it's funny. It's a cute little banter. And they flash back to when they slept together in Vegas earlier in the season. And where Garcelle's like, Sutton, go to sleep. And she's like, well, come on, I'm just reading. I got this book on tantric sex. Why would Sutton have a book on well, this is called The Pile Driver. Hey, Garcelle, you wanna fall asleep to my dulcet tones where I explain sexual positions I'll say about putting fingers in buttocks? Oh my God, I love Sutton so much. Anyways, we're back to Sutton's room, and Garcelle's snuggled in Sutton's bed, and she's like, this room seems a lot more modern than mine. Mine feels like there's a creepy man coming out any minute, which would be great if, the ghost of Tom Girardi, who's still alive, is like, I'm here. I'd like to tell you about the time I met John Wayne. He came in. I was with somebody. Sutton's like, well, I'd be one of the little people. And, they're having fun. Next morning, the birds are singing. It's 10:30 a.m. The ladies are waking up. Kyle's brushing her teeth. And she's like, Erica, what are you wearing? And Erica's like,
I only slept 1 hour.
And Dorit's like, Erica, me too.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep.
And Garcelle knocks on Anna Marie's door. And, talking about the outfits they're going to wear today. We're back in Erica's room. She's sitting on the sofa. And she's like, me.
Me.
Dorit's like, what the hell is that? And Erica's like,
I'm just doing my vocal exercises so I can sing my songs because it's so hard to hit the notes. It's expensive to be me.
Anyways, Dorit's like, oh, I hear George doing it all the time, which is like, hey, Dorit, I'm sorry, pick this up. You just dropped a name. Do you mean Boy George? I'm sorry, Boy is my dad. You can call me George. Sutton bops over to Crystal's room, who has her door open. Sutton's like, well, hello, Crystal. May I enter? I say. Well, how you feeling about last night? It got so heated, should I close the door? And then they're kind of going back and forth between this and Garcelle and Anna Marie talking. And Anna Marie's like, Garcelle, I don't like confrontations, being in a bad place with people. I bet she's in a bad place with a lot of people in her. I just get this feeling she probably has a lot of situations like this in her actual life. Garcelle goes, people you're on a trip with? Right. I want us to be good. You know what I mean? That being said, she is not being truthful, Crystal, about what she told me about this group. And Garcelle's like, so she for sure said this. So I do not lie, Garcelle. I don't lie. Well, you made up the eating disorder thing, kind of. I mean, what we now go over to Crystal's room and Sutton's like, well, Anna Marie's calling you a liar to the whole group. And Crystal's like, yeah, but I don't believe anyone believes it, honestly. But, I would think in a normal group, but this is fucking reality TV, so you never know. We now bounce over to Erica's room, and Erica's like,
do you think Crystal called us shallow and uneducated?
And Dorit's like, I don't believe that Anna Marie is flat out making it up. Erica and I talking to her goes,
something has a little ring of truth for me here. I can see where she'd say to others, oh, these women are uneducated. I'm really different. I don't think that Anna Marie would just pull that out of nowhere.
And then in the scene, Erica's like,
we all get frustrated in the group. We all say things, but if we're uneducated and shallow, then why be here?
And also, but by the way, who fucking needs to be educated? I'm not, I have a college degree, but I wouldn't I'm not educated, who the fuck cares? I don't know. Anyways, Sutton and Crystal's scene, Sutton's like, well, is it okay to call you a liar? And Crystal's like, no, it's ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. And Sutton's like, well, why are you letting her off the hook? And Crystal's like, here's the thing. This is the difference between us. You need someone to say that wasn't said in order for you to feel better. I do not. And Sutton's like, mm-hmm. And Sutton and the talking head's like, well, we all know that Crystal and I have had some challenging times. And we go back to 2020 with Sutton and the purple face roller, going, well, you don't even know me, Crystal. And Crystal's like, I don't know you, but all that you've shown me, well, that's what I've shown you. And Crystal's like, is crazy, yes. Sutton continues in a tugging head. Well, I think sometimes with friendships, it takes a deep dive to come up fresh. I say, and Crystal and I have both come into this fresh air spot, and we really like each other's company. So I want Crystal and Anna Marie to nip this in the bud and build a better friendship on that, But why? I mean, I think the only reason is because they're on a reality show. I mean, some people just aren't meant to get along. Why would encourage it? She seems horrible, and she said shit about you too, Sutton. Sutton goes, well, keep sticking up for yourself because what she's saying isn't nice. And Crystal's like, no, it's not. Well, I don't know how you can be friends with somebody who's going to continually do this. Crystal's like, well, I'm treading lightly. And Sutton's like, well, you need to tell her that. And Crystal's like, I will. Now we move on. The ladies are all getting gathered in one room. And they're like, Sutton's like, we got a big day. We're going to get the Sprinter vans. We're going to reconvene in the church. And Erica's like,
what about confession? Because some of you need it. You dirty.
And Sutton's like, yeah, some of us need an exorcism. Oh. Anyway, Sutton goes, well, we're going to take the Sprinter van to the bridge. We're going to take it to Jesus. And then Erica, this is great. Erica's like,
well, I would just like to share some very good, happy news that I got in the morning. I think it's important. Maybe for you, Crystal, in particular.
And Erica reads from her phone,
attached are two decisions today by the District Court of Appeals regarding my earrings. The District Court reverses the bankruptcy court's turnover order.
And we get a headline from Reality Blurb saying Erica Jane wins appeal over $750,000 earrings after her diamonds were auctioned off to repay victims of Tom Girardi's fraud. What happens next? And Anna Marie's like, what does that mean? And Erica's like,
the court wants the trustee to prove the money used to pay for the earrings was with actual client trust fund money.
And Erica in a tugging head goes,
in other words, you can't prove that the money that was used to buy my earrings was client money. You can't do that, so they shouldn't have to be taken in the first place. I'm Erica Jane.
Erica to the ladies goes,
remember when I got very heated and I said, the story is not over, please listen to me.
We get a flashback to Aspen 2022 where Garcelle's like, you have a pair of $750,000 earrings. If you give it to them,
what's going to happen?
And Crystal's like, well, I would just give it up. Let's get real. And Erica screams,
let's get real? You're not caring without facts, though. What facts do you have?
And also another scene in Aspen where Garcelle goes, why wouldn't you go fuck it? Let's pay the victims. It's not saying I'm guilty. It's saying I have compassion.
And you know what I say, Garcelle? I'm not guilty. And how fucking dare you say that say that shit about me? You know how many blowjobs I'd have given?
Eric and I talking there goes,
what I said was going to happen is happening. This is a long fight. Let it work through the legal system. Please do not rush to judgment.
And in the scene, Erica's like,
look, a win is a win. Yeah, it goes back down to lower court. Yeah, we're going to still find it out. But the upper court said, hold on a second, this isn't quite right.
And Garcelle and Crystal are just like, congratulations. Kyle and I talking there goes, I think Erica feels vindicated with the number of ladies in this group. So many of them doubted her so much, including you, Kyle. And by the way, they all still should doubt. I mean, this is so fucking ridiculous here. And Erica's been doing so well. And it just goes to show you, as far as you can grow with therapy and stuff, she's got still a very long way to go. Because it's just also, you know how fucked up our court system is? You know, like they can keep this tied up in legal shit for the rest of people's lives. Yeah. And like, yeah. Oh, they can't prove that the client, like, well, there's a good chance that it came from client funds. Like, oh, you think Tom magically bought this with real money? Like, come on. And everybody, like, I just think it's so fucking silly. And at the end of the day, yeah, you know, you can give back to the victims. Like, you can give back of your personal money and go, like, that was my whole thing with, and it's like to want to be celebrated, to want to be apologized to is so ridiculous in so many ways. Garcelle in a talking head says, I wish you would just let the earrings go and give something back to the victims so that she can sleep at night. So you feel like, you know, even if you're not guilty, you're giving back to the victims. You need good karma. And Sutton in the scene is like, well, the thing that you're saying, though, because you said you got loud. And Erica's like, yeah. And maybe when it's too loud, we can't hear. That's a really wise thing that Sutton said. Like, when you get that heated, I even said that about Monica in Salt Lake City. When you're like saying like every bitch this, bitch that, we're not actually listening to the message. Sutton's like, well, so maybe we don't get so loud, And Erica in a talking head goes,
I can't control people's reactions, but I was really expecting more from these ladies. I really was.
like, you're a victim now, Erica? And Sutton's like, well, okay, we got to go because we have a lot to do. Erica continues in a talking head,
I don't need anybody to put their arms around me, but I do need you to acknowledge that what I said would happen is happening. That would be a nice moment for me.
I'm sure it would, man. So it's like, well, come on, ladies. They split the groups into 2 sprinter bands, and the roads are kind of narrow and winding. So Kyle's like kind of sick, they're all like kind of scared. And Erica's like, oh, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm good. I'm happy. All right, let's go. And a talking head, she's like,
yeah, I have a lot of disappointment in a lot of these women in this group. We were so passionate last year. But after I got a favorable ruling, everybody's like, okay, well, yeah.
And then she pauses and she's like,
therapy, just think about my therapy.
And we flash back to her therapist going, you're going to have some empathy for them, like emotionally. And that was, remember, Erica was like,
what's empathy? What's that mean?
Anyways, the ability for some of these people to make themselves a victim in any situation is truly inspiring. So they're in the sprinter van and, Kyle's like, I don't like this road. I'm just going to say that. And then in the other sprinter van, Crystal's like, guys, I'm getting really sick. And Garcelle's like, well, just don't look back. That's why I'm looking forward. And Crystal's like, you guys, this is rough for me. And Kyle's like, are you going to throw up? And Crystal's like, I might. And in the other sprinter van, Anna Marie, Dorit, and Erica, they're doing okay. But Crystal's like, guys, in the other sprinter, she's like, I need to get out of the car. And Garcelle's like, oh, there's not even sides of the road here. Where do we stop? And Crystal's like, I need to get out of the car right now. And Garcelle's like, stop the car, let her out right here. And Crystal's like, you guys keep going. I just need to get out of the car, please. And she gets out and she throws up with her huge esophagus. And a producer tells the ladies in the other sprinter van why they're stopped. Like, hey, Crystal's got car sick. And Anna Marie's like, oh no. And Crystal, she's going towards the sprinter and she's like, look at my veins. And the ladies respond. They're like, oh my God, they're huge. They're popping out. And the producer's like, okay, we're almost there. And, both sprinters are starting to rally on and they arrive finally at the Ermita de la Trinitat in Stitches, Spain. And Crystal's like, let me out of here. And says like, well, I'm going to pray for you. And Kyle is looking up for her phone going, what's wrong? And Garcelle's like, her hands are swollen up. Garcelle goes up to Anna Marie, goes, hey, what does it mean when your veins pop out? Uh-oh, Anna Marie, wonder doctor. Anna Marie's like, what do you mean? And Garcelle goes like, Crystal's not feeling well. Crystal's sitting in the open air on a stone wall with Kyle and Sutton, and Anna Marie approaches them, and Anna Marie's like, are you okay? And Crystal's like, yeah, I'm just car sick. All of a sudden, I'm like sweating and my veins are popping out. And Anna Marie's like, oh my God, they're really big. Holy crap. Is that her bedside manner? Like, holy shit, you're about to die. Whoa, my God, gross. Anyways, Crystal's starting to panic. It's like, what's happening to me? What's happening? And Sutton's soothing her, going, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay, Crystal. And if not, you want me to put you in the Ziploc bag with muss? Don't worry, I got another Ziploc bag if you don't want to be mixed in with muss. I gotta tell you, you was a very good man, just like you're a very good woman. So I don't know, I'm just going to say it's an option. Anyways, Colin and Tanya goes, the universe works in mysterious ways. Last night, these two were at each other's throats. And right now, Crystal's at Anne Marie's mercy. Is she fucking really? They just called a doc? Like, what? What are you smoking? Anyways, Kyle's like, I'm going to call 911. Next time on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And we see him walking down cobblestone streets. And Kyle's like, Donde está Hermes? We see Erica helping Garcelle pay for some jewelry because her card didn't work. We see Sutton in a church with Kyle, and Kyle saying, like, Sutton's like, I'm sorry I haven't been a better friend, Kyle. And Kyle's like, you have been a good friend. It's okay. And Sutton going, I love you, Kyle. And then we see Garcelle and Dorit, and Garcelle's like, how you talk to me made me feel a certain way. And I'm like, oh shit. And Dorit's like, if there's anything I say and for whatever reason triggers you, please tell me, because I never want to do that. And Garcelle's like, I believe that. And then we have Sutton sobbing hysterically in her room at the villa. And Kyle's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And Sutton's like, well, there's a lot of my dad wrapped up in this. So that must be the day they're distributing merce, I'm guessing. But anyways, that's it, folks. My voice is thrashed. have a great weekend. Really, have a great weekend. I'm going to do a Patreon episode tomorrow. We did like a 2-hour one last weekend. So if you want more, patreon.com/so bad it's good. We also have a lot of our videos up on YouTube. If you want to see my pale, grody face, you can go to there, subscribe. But also just check out all the episodes. We put out a lot of good shit this week, and I hope you listen to it and support. And thank you for all your support. And remember, it's Friday, so eat something good, drink something great, dance like no one's watching, tell people that you love them, say hello to friends that you haven't said hello to in a long time, hang out with your kids, hang out by yourself, just stare at a wall, go on a hike, or don't do any exercise at all. Watch something good, read something cool, listen to music, and then I'll meet you bright and early on Monday for an all-new pop culture roundup. Bye, you guys. I'm going to go sleep after I edit.